Pledge of Allegiance.
I don't see him very much. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. On this day, Wednesday, March 13th, 2013, at 4:05 p.m., the regularly scheduled board meeting of the Chicago Park District is being held in the 8th floor boardroom of the Administration Building at 541 North Fairbanks Court, Chicago, Illinois. Will the Secretary take a roll call of the Commissioners?
Commissioner Shalaby?
Here.
Commissioner Koldyke? Commissioner Lavelle? Commissioner Salgado? Commissioner Allen? Here. Vice President Armstrong?
Here.
President Trobert?
Here.
Quorum is present. Let the record reflect that General Superintendent Michael Kelly and General Counsel Maria Garcia are also in attendance.
This meeting will please come to order. Item number 1, approval of the meeting minutes from the public hearing held on August 8th, 2012, and the regular meeting held on February 13th, 2013. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Will the Secretary take a roll call of the Commissioners?
Commissioner Shalaby?
Aye.
Commissioner Allen? Aye. Vice President Armstrong?
Aye.
President Trobert?
Aye.
Motion carried and the matter is adopted.
Next on the agenda is the people in the park section. Will the Secretary please call the names of those who have signed up to speak?
Yes, sir. We ask that you please limit your comments to 2 minutes. Our first three speakers are Randall Raflaub, Kendall Green, and George Blakemore. Kendall?
Yeah. How's it going? I'm Kendall Green, Commissioner of 16-inch Washington Park softball. Same question I had last year. The policy about the 501c3. They turned me on to a guy, Steve Hughes, and he turned me on to Alonzo Williams. That once we got a hold to it, that they will honor it. But now they're telling us they won't honor our 501c3 only for a special event. But what we do is charitable in the park all year long with the kids and stuff, and we just want to know what's the policy. They let us use it in certain parks, but at this park, Washington Park, they won't let us use it. We want to know what's the policy for the 501c3.
You know what? Probably the easiest way to get to the bottom of what you're talking about is point you toward Alonzo, who's standing right there. He's the Director of Revenue.
Okay.
And hopefully you guys can work it out. If not, I will follow up with Alonzo.
Okay. All right. And your name? Michael Kelly. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Mr. Blakemore?
Good afternoon to the citizens of the city of Chicago, also to the board and to the staff. I would like to thank you for having this event dealing with the Advisory Council of Parks. Saturday was well attended and appreciated. However, today I would like to speak on the article that was dealing with Field Museum. Someone from the museum will make a presentation today. However, I asked this question to someone, is the Field Museum coming up for increase in admission? People are coming in to view the exhibits at the museum, and they say no, that wasn't on the agenda. However, I'm challenging the Field Museum and all the museums in the park because you're using public land, and that you have an obligation to have 1 day free and also to have your admission be affordable to the citizens. So when you take risks in your investments, your capital investments, your bonds, or whatever that you're doing to get income, and you don't reach those goals, and you go in the hole, well, it still affects the average citizens, because I believe that you're gonna make up by going up on your fees. So I'm always concerned about the little people and the users of these museums. So I'm awaiting your presentation. And so you haven't been prudent and wise with your investments. So again, I'm glad to
Exceeded
be
your 2
here.
minutes.
I will be watching, and the citizens will be watching very closely what is going on with the capital
Mr. Blakemore.
investment money at the Field Museum. So thank you again, and I will be out there, my little ears geared up, waiting for that presentation. And may God bless you, and may in return you bless someone else. And thank you again.
Our next 3 speakers are Cecilia Butler, Anthony Aniquez, and Andrew Rodriguez.
Good afternoon. Cecilia Butler, Washington Park Advisory Council. First, I'd like to thank the Park District for their participation in the park and the advocacy along with Friends of the Park this past Saturday. It was a good event. More people should have been out there. So I think everybody needs to work on that. But I was extremely shocked when this gentleman sat next to me, and I thought he said, "Hello, Cecilia," but I didn't quite recognize him. And then I figured out why. He had on a suit and tie. He didn't have on a suit and tie Saturday, and that was the president. So if the president can come out, the rest of you need to come on, along with all the park advisory councils. More parks should have been represented, but it was a good event. Here's the picture of our check being turned over to the Park District for our youth fitness center. We can't wait. Really, probably we'll be cutting a ribbon in May. So let me share this with you. It's not a good picture, but it's a picture. Okay, we have a couple of problems. Let me say it quick. Signage. University of Chicago has stepped on a thorn in Washington Park. It might be within the parkways where the city is has the jurisdiction, but it's an ugly sign in Washington Park that also opens the door for little bitty
30
people
seconds remaining.
who can have their leeway with the elected official and do the same. The signs are not in Jackson Park, and why not? Okay, so I say that might have been the okay of the alderman. The other situation that you, the Park District, must start considering, and that's schools in the parks that we, the Park District, has allowed the Chicago Board of Education to control.
You have exceeded your
Might
2 minutes.
eventually go under the jurisdiction of a charter school, who we have no idea who they are and we have no commitment. Diet in Washington Park
you, Ms.
was a
Butler.
fight that the community lost, but we don't want to give it up to a charter. So Park District, let's get a policy together that does not give property of the parks just to anyone. Thank you.
Mr. Aniquez?
Good afternoon, Superintendent, Board President, and Commissioners. I just wanted to be here. I'm really here today just for a little praise on the Chicago Park District. I'd like to thank Rob Raymond and his project manager for coming out for the participatory budgeting. We're just getting into swing, and they've been very helpful in giving us some cost estimates to some of the projects that we have going on for this year. The other thing is I wanted to know what the Chicago Park District is doing about security. As you know, we put some security cameras up at Chewy Park, and believe it or not, that the little incidents that were happening before, they were cut down by probably about 70%, you know. And the thing is, Mayor Emanuel has mandated or said that there were going to be some cameras that were going to be installed around parks. and it's one tool to stop the violence that's going on. A lot of the shootings have been around parks and stuff, and the parks do get a bad name, but these kids, they have to have somewhere to go. Look at the tragic incident that happened this past Monday. You had some teenagers, 14, 15, and 17-year-olds, turning upside down in the car in a pond, and it was because they didn't know what to do, or they were just hanging around, and they have no place to go. I would like to see a few mentoring programs from the Chicago Park District to bring some of these younger people in. The Park District takes very good care of the kids from 1 to 12. After 12,
30 seconds
they're
remaining.
gone. But anyhow, I just wanted to bring that before you. And the only thing that I have is the soccer field at Chewy Park, which brings in a lot of revenue on weekends, etc. We need to have that field reseeded or resodded. We couldn't use PB money, menu money, because it can't be used for repairs. So I don't know who would be in charge of that. It's probably Adam Swermer's department, landscaping.
You have exceeded your 2
etc.
minutes.
And then I just want to give a big shout out to all the women of the Chicago Park District, seeing as this is March Women's Month. I mean, let's give credit where credit is due,
Wow. I was going to come after you.
That earned me an extra 30 seconds, right?
Good recovery. More importantly, you also gave me an opportunity to once again plug Windy City Hoops. So March 22nd, every Friday and Saturday night, 5 to 10 and 7 to 10. Our gyms, Loyola near you, and 9 others throughout Chicago will be open for kids 13 to 18, 13 to 17. And it's an opportunity for kids to do things, have a positive experience, play a little basketball, and do something other than hanging out. And you can go to www.windycityhoops.com or www.chicagoparkdistrict.com for more information.
Well, and I hope that Vice President B.J. Armstrong can talk Derek Rose into coming out, since he isn't playing, right?
You've exceeded your 2 minutes. Our last two speakers are
Some others.
Dr. Antonio Lopez and Dr. Howard Ehrman. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Rodriguez.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for my 2 minutes. I'll jump right in. We are regular patrons of Humboldt Park and are concerned with the park's concessions, known as United Cooks of Humboldt Park, and their impact on our historic park's landscape and park experience. The concessions in their current state are not an asset to our park. We'd like you to review the overall management of the concessions, the concession trailers, particularly the location choice, the concession owners' attitudes towards the public, the lack of posted menus and prices, the hours, days, and seasons of operation, and the use of gas generators to operate these trailers. In general, management appears non-professional and not up to code with the EPA. For the last several years, we have discussed these and other points with Humboldt Park Advisory Council, Area 1 Park District employees, Cynthia Rosario and Jesus Perez, Chicago Park District Alonzo Williams, Inspector General Office, IGO Kenneth Henderson, as well as an IGO of Chicago. I'm here today confident you can resolve these issues. United Cooks has stated they are an institution and do not see the need to engage the community. We're asking that you review park concessions management of United Cooks, their contract, daily operations.
30 seconds remaining.
Thank you. To provide stronger guidance, ensuring they serve our community at the high standards at the institution they claim to be. I have a packet of their contract, email conversations, and studies on the use of generators that I'd like to give you, or whoever I can provide them to. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. You can either give it to me. You should probably grab Alonzo. We have been working with this. Obviously, you're against them. We have been working with our IG office as well as our auditing department to
to try to comprehensively look at what's going on with them. Alonzo probably has more information up to date than I do,
Okay.
but work with Alonzo and we'll just get the
We're
conversation.
not against them. Did you say against them?
I thought you said you were against them, United Cooks.
Well, we're against how they're operating right now.
Okay.
If
We're on it, and I think Alonzo
We're-
could
you
give
know,
you a lot more information.
Number one priority is generators and adhering to the contracts. Right now, they're operating out of season, and
Thank you,
know,
Mr. Rodriguez.
They tell us all kinds of things. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
I'm sorry, and so we have three, our last three speakers are Carlos Terraza, Dr. Antonio Lopez, and Dr. Howard Ehrman.
Good afternoon. I will get right into it. My name is Carlos Terrazo. I am 25 years old, resident. I live and I work in Little Village. We're in the southwest side, and I'm here to speak about park number 553, which we hope will be the first park that is an all-green, self-sustainable park. And I'm here to share a little bit about the history of Little Village, LVEJO, the Little Village Environmental Justice Organization, and the fight for the park. This fight started in 1998, where community members and LVEJO fought to clean up the contaminated site of Celotex. This fight led up to 2005, where some of the water leaked out to people's homes, residents' homes around the area, and we were able to bring out the EPA. They cleaned out the soil from houses from 2 blocks, and were able to replace it. Then they were able to put a cap over the contaminated site, and that happened in the end of 2010. After 2010, we continued the struggle to get a contract to get a park built in the Celotex site. In 2012, the city of Chicago signed over the land to the Chicago Park District, so it's the first park that will be owned by the Chicago Park District, and hopefully will be the first green, self-sustainable park. Now, I come to Little Village. Little Village is an underserved
30
community,
seconds remaining.
but it has changed a lot in the last 10 years. We have a new high school. There's a new 31st Street bus that allows access in and out of Little Village. 26th Street is the second in sales tax revenue, and 31st Street is growing right behind it in business. Also, things that we are working on now, we are working on fixing streets so we could have more public access to transportation. We are working on beautification.
You have exceeded your 2 minutes.
One more minute, please. We are working on beautifications with gardens. There are, I want to say, more than 15 gardens that are recognized by
Thank you, Mr.
Chicago,
Terrazo.
and we are working on a walkway to turn our old railroad train tracks into a walkway that will connect into Pilsen. Now, with that said, we are here to
Thank you,
ask
Mr. Terrazo.
for more communication from the Park District to Little Village Environmental Justice Organization so that we could work together to get a park that is something that the community needs, not a park that is something that architects or the Chicago Park District thinks we need.
Have you not seen the most recent design?
We have. And there is
Quite a
still,
bit of community involvement on the design.
there's been one meeting.
Do you know Bob Foster?
Yes,
is
sir.
the project manager? All right. Work with Bob. There's been a tremendous amount of actually community back and forth. Am I wrong, Bob? That's correct. Yeah. So get with Bob. Maybe we're closer than you think.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Lopez?
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Dr. Antonio Lopez. I'm a historian and an urban studies scholar. I'm also the director of a mentoring program at St. Charles IYC, the Illinois Youth Center. So I work a lot with incarcerated youth out there to help them to improve their lives and come back to our communities and to become better citizens and to contribute. I do believe in second chances. I'm here today to also support the building of the park in Celotex and the full funding of the park in Celotex, because I see the park as actually an investment in anti-violence in our city. Of course, we're all concerned with the level of violence that's been taking place, but I'm also concerned with what seems to be a return to an incarceration strategy. where a lot of funds are getting put back into certain things such as mandatory minimums and stop and frisk tactics, which we know don't work and don't actually serve to deter conduct. The Chicago Reporter just put out a recent article which was stunning, that in the last 10 years, the city of Chicago has spent $5.3 billion in incarcerating people in this city. This includes $989 million blocks, which in those 10 years, the city has spent $1 million in those blocks incarcerating people. So what I'm calling for is that by supporting parks like Celotex, it's actually a very good investment, both economically and in the community, to stop violence. This is money that should be, instead of putting money into incarceration, we should be putting money into parks. We should be putting money into communities. This park, which has a lot of community,
30 seconds remaining,
is going to reduce violence, improve the economy in that area, and help the city in general. So it's also very symbolic because that park is right across the street from the county jail. So again, this council has an opportunity to be courageous and not contribute in any way to this incarceration strategy, which is just a waste of funds. It doesn't work, and to put its resources and time and energy into building Celotex Park, which will reduce violence, will improve the economy. And I hope that you'll continue to work with the community and open up your resources to them so that that park comes into fruition. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Ehrman?
Good afternoon, Board. I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak and also for the work you've been doing with the Little Village Environmental Justice Organization and the people of Little Village. My family's been living in Little Village since it started 130 years ago, and I think this is a great project, not just for Chicago, but it has national and international significance. To segue with what Antonio just said, there are basically 10,000 prisoners, primarily African Americans and Latinos, who are directly across the street from this park. A lot of them are in there because they don't have bail money and they don't have anybody but a public defender who's overwhelmed with cases. We know that one of the statistics that's been shown over and over again is that kids, no matter what age, need positive experiences. I grew up in the south side of Chicago, and basically I had plenty of positive experience in the Chicago Park District. However, and we want to thank you for getting the land with the City of Chicago, but that's not enough. I have before me a document that you participated in 1998 called City Space that says that Little Village needs 101 acres of open space, number 2 out of 77 community areas. Here's a document generated by your staff, 203 parks built or expanded from 1989 to 2012, not one of them in Little Village until you purchased Celotex a few months ago. So we have a situation of 80,000 people, primarily immigrants, the youngest community area by age in the city, who need a great park. And the budget is just not there at this point.
30
and
seconds
the design
remaining.
is positive in some ways, but it does not meet the design that was generated, Commissioner Kelly, by basically over 1,000 people over 4 years. This design includes 5 acres of an urban farm. It would be the first urban farm in a Chicago Park District property. It includes a lot of other aspects that are not in the final design at this point. So we need to continue to work together over this design. We need to continue to have community input.
You have exceeded your 2 minutes.
And we have to continue to work together to look for money, because the parks that have been built in primarily white middle-class neighborhoods, both in the loop, next to the loop,
Thank you, Dr.
spend
Ehrman.
up to $30–40 million per acre. And, you know, it's just not going to cut it to have $12, $16, $20 million for a 24-acre park. Thank you very much.
There are no further speakers?
At this point, I would like to recognize is Alderman Irving. Are you here? Hello, Alderman. I don't. First of all, we'd like to welcome you, and I don't know if you'd like to address the meeting or not.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the superintendent. Reason I come is in relation to one of the parks on the 28th floor on the west side of Chicago, Moore Park. We've been working hard, working diligently, as well as the Park Advisory Council on the expansion of the field house. We are happy that you did see fit to make an allocation in support of the expansion of the field house that went along with menu money that our office had provided. Unfortunately, I took a ding for that in the papers not too long ago, but we'll live with that. But we really would like for you and some members of the board to come out and join us to see the need of the park in the community. As I said before, this is while it is a pocket park, it's probably one of the most densely populated areas in the 28th Ward in that part of Austin, and the need as it relates to the field house is pressing as we look into the community. So we would ask you, Commissioner Armstrong, and others that would like to just come out and see the need, and on behalf of the Advisory Council and myself, to see what we can do to help expand with the funds that have been provided by our office through the City of Chicago and through the Park District, to see if we can find some more funds to make that a better reality than what we think it may be today. So with me is the Chairman of the Park Advisory Council, Mr. Brinson, and again, we just press upon that point for us there.
Great, thank you.
Very much.
And there are no more speakers? Okay.
No more speakers.
At this point, we're just going to flip the order around just a little bit because we have a special presentation to the board. And Mike, you want to do an introduction here?
Sure. I thought I'd move you up. We got a nice crowd, and Kennedy, I didn't have the pleasure of meeting you yesterday because you were in school, which is where you should be. But I did get to meet your mom, and mom spoke very eloquently about you and your brothers and sisters. And a little bit of background, Kennedy is 15. And 2 weeks ago at Homan Square, you wowed people with your singing, including a very important person, the mayor, Rahm Emanuel. And anybody who comes to our board frequently, every month I like to showcase what we're about. We're not just about park designs and architecture and dog parks, they're all important, but we're also about the human side of things, most notably children and young adults. And with that, I will stop talking, and if I can, Kennedy, I would invite you to, I'm excited, I'm nervous, I'm actually nervous, invite you to perform.
Well, I'm Kennedy Westbrook. I'm 15 years old. Today I'll be singing 205. It's by Giuseppe Torelli. And the poetic idea of it is I really love you, remember that.
Thank you so very, very much. That was really spectacular. Next on the agenda is Richard here? Okay, so first of all, it's my real pleasure to welcome Richard LaRiviere, who's the president and CEO of the Field Museum. And Richard, I need to apologize to you. You know, my mom always told me, don't ever eat at a place called Mother's. Don't play cards with a man named Doc. And I should add that, don't ever try to follow a poised, beautiful young woman with an otherworldly voice.
Exactly.
So you get to do that.
Thank you for the warm welcome. Right. Well, this is going to be quite a letdown because I'm not young, I'm not beautiful, and I don't have anything like that talent. Congratulations. Well, I am really honored to be here, President Traubert, Commissioners, Superintendent Kelly. This is my first meeting with all of you, and I'm delighted to be here. I feel very lucky to be at the head of such an organization, an iconic part of Chicago, and let me tell you, it's great fun. We've got some new exhibits. The Creatures of Light just opened, about bioluminescence and about all of the ways that animals generate their own light for all kinds of remarkable purposes. It's quite an experience, and I urge everyone to partake of it. We are about to open Scenes from the Stone Age, the cave paintings of Lascaux. This will be a full-size recreation of the cave in France that's no longer accessible to the public, representing 20,000-year-old paintings. They are exquisite and deeply moving, and I think that's going to be very edifying for our citizens as well. The ongoing exhibit of images of the afterlife, which is one of the spookiest things in the entire museum, where you get to see the insides of mummies generated by CAT scans, as well as the exhibit showing Maria Pinto's wonderfully creative work and comparing it to some of the items that we have in our collections. We've got a lot of stuff going on there now, and we have plans for some even more exciting things in the near future that I won't detain you with this afternoon. I want to report to you on some of the capital projects of the museum. We are in the middle of a fire suppression retrofit. It's a $12 million project that we are intending to finish by 2016. We just finished replacing the north entrance glass curtain, which we discovered was in such bad repair that we nearly had to close the entire entry and replace it on an emergency basis. And that was paid for with money provided by the state of Illinois in part. And we have just finished a series of energy efficiency projects that will be paid for by the state of Illinois, we hope, especially if they're about to sell their latest tranche of $800 million worth of bonds. Luckily, our credit rating is better than theirs still. I want to talk to you today in the few minutes that you've graciously allotted to me to talk a little bit about how the museum relates to children and our very important mission to educate them with regard to science. We provided a very broad range of programs and experiences that serve early childhood through young adulthood. And all the programs focus on engaging learners in exploring their world and actually doing science. That's a really important thing for us. We seldom like to lecture. We like getting people involved. In 2012, our education program directly touched more than 400,000 children. 280,000 of those 400 were from Chicago public schools. Our programs play a critical role in addressing the needs of underserved children in our city. About 85% of the children that we impact are from under-resourced communities in this area. And one of the things that we are trying very, very hard to do is what I have come to refer to as sort of stealth remediation. It's quite well known that K through 5 teachers don't always have the finest education in the sciences, particularly in keeping up with what's happening with the sciences. And so we have focused an enormous effort on what we call the Field Ambassadors Program. And we currently have 400 elementary teachers who are very carefully trained. It's quite a rigorous multi-month program. They are in CPS, and they serve as our ambassadors in that they lure other teachers to come into this program, but also serve as resources for the field in their respective schools. This program has had a very significant effect on the quality of science education in CPS. We provide free field trips to all schools that are willing to bring their students to the field. Last year we had 71,000 students from CPS partake in this. That's about 60% of our overall field trip service last year. We have student and youth group programs that are largely focused on CPS. Of these students last year, 21,000 students participated in these student youth programs. I'll talk a little bit about them. And finally, we had a series of youth and family programs that were very successful and reached 188,000 students and children here in Chicago last year. Let me talk about 3 priorities, and then I'll come to a quick conclusion. Priority number 1 is building children's awareness of science. And under this category, we have 3 programs that are of particular interest to you. Our Park Voyagers program, which is the hands-on workshops for 8 to 10-year-olds to bring museum science to 5 Chicago parks in under-resourced communities. And under this program, children explore all kinds of topics: dinosaurs, mummies, Northwest Coast peoples, whatever we can most enthusiastically engage them with. And under this program, approximately 175 families will visit the museum as a result of our outreach in these parks. And during the course of the year, they will be partake in programs, receive free passes to all of the museum's exhibits. And in the last 5 years, this program has reached 36,000 children through Park Voyagers and CPT visits. It's a number that we're very pleased with, but we hope to grow dramatically. We also have the Summer Worlds Tour, which is a series of week-long summer camps that immerse 500 children in scientific research and projects actually within the museum. And finally, we're very excited about the family camping program on Northerly Island. We expect to have our plans finalized for this program by the end of March, and we're working closely with Peggy Stewart on that. The second priority is our enhancing science in the classroom, and there we have the Early Elementary Science Partnership, which is part of this plan to remediate the lack of science preparation, rigorous science preparation in some of our elementary school teachers. This program works specifically with 7 schools in Pilsen, Garfield Park, West Humboldt Park, and we have 231 elementary school teachers enrolled in this program at the moment. They touch 7,000 students every day. This program received the 2013 Award for Excellence in Programs from the American Alliance of Museums in Washington, D.C. We plan to introduce a second cohort in the Austin North Lawndale area in the coming fiscal year. Well, I could go on and on. We have a teacher professional development program that has put 2,300 Chicago teachers through 152 different programs. We have on-site student classes. We have 900 special specimen boxes that are in constant circulation. We estimate that some 13,000 students handled those specimens in their classrooms last year. And finally, our third priority, engaging teens in science. This is a program that brings students into the museum for what we call the fully wired approach, where they actually handle, sometimes actually prepare specimens. They work in scientists' labs. They use our digital media and prepare social networking materials for us. And so far, in 2012, when when we initiated this program, we've had 17,000 students go through this program. Face-to-face education, hands-on education is what we are about, and we very much value our partnership with CPD in finding opportunities to take the contents of the museum into the city. And we're deeply grateful to you for the cooperation that you've extended to us and the encouragement that you've given us in these programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any commissioners have questions?
I have a thank you for being here and welcome to Chicago, Richard.
Thank you.
On the subject of teaching teachers in science, that's a very beneficial program, and I was just wondering, is there any coordination with the Museum of Science and Industry, because I think they do something similar to that too?
Yes, we work very closely with them, and we are focusing within the K-12 spectrum. We are focusing on K through 5, and they are focusing on 5 through 12.
Okay.
We've done this in order not to compete, not to replicate efforts, etc.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anything else? Richard, thank you for being here. And on behalf of all the commissioners, I want to tell you, we all know about your background and what you bring to Chicago, and obviously the principal leadership that you're bringing to the field. So we thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is a report on the polar plunge from Jerry Hennigan.
Good afternoon. Thank you for giving me a few minutes. Just have to pardon me on my technology here. Sorry, Matt, I'm taking off your... As the board knows, our special recreation program services the individuals with disabilities within our park district and all of our inclusive programs. So we're very proud of that. Our Special Olympics program has been the longest program that we as a park district have been running. And all the operational funds are raised by Special Children's Charities, which pay for the medals, the buses, and everything else. Mike Benavente is our Special Olympics administrator, and Ryan Rogers, our program and event facilitator. They do all the hard work. So I just wanted to share with you, this is our 13th annual polar plunge we've done this year. You hear polar plunges now throughout the country. When we started in 2000, there were 45 of us that ran into the lake 5 days a week for all the media to get to know what are these crazy people doing. Because you see the different groups that go on New Year's Day and stuff. We do it for a cause. We do it for the Special Olympics program that we as the Chicago Park District run for the whole city. Superintendent, he has plunged with me. He did get mad at me because he kept running and I turned around. I'm like, you don't have to hit the pylons. So, but I just wanted to show you a few pictures of the day. This is an event that it takes us about 10 months to plan. It's 1 day, 8 hours, and as of today, we're at $732,000. And people have until April 1st to continue to pledge plungers that went in, and our Special Olympics grant this year is just over $400,000 to cover the cost of the programs that we already have in place. And so with the increase from the Chicago Polar Plunge, the charities has already offered to sponsor our Special Olympics team from Loyola Park to go to a National Special Olympics tournament in New Jersey. So they're offering our athletes in the city of Chicago amazing opportunities and more opportunities than we're able to. So I'll just show you the slideshow, and then if there's any questions. Sorry, I hope you didn't get seasick from it. I made it a little watery. There were a lot of park employees on their own time that came out and plunged on this day as well. It was the water was kind of like a Slurpee that you would see at 7-Eleven. The actors from Chicago Fire came out. Shannon Rovers led the group into the water. And so there's costume contests, there's largest teams, there's quite a few prizes that people could win throughout the day. William Tang. If you don't know William Tang, he's a Special Olympics athlete that started volunteering with us in the office here 8 years ago, and he had his own team, and they did tandem style. So he had his blue tuxedo. It was fantastic. So that's just our stats. First year was year 2000. This year was our 13th year. So if you see a major increase, and it's just more and more opportunities that we're able to offer the athletes in the city of Chicago. So thank you for your continued support. And they are two athletes that are in those photos. We do not make them run. We do not make them plunge. This is not one of the events that we offer for them, but they do come down a lot with their families. The mother on the left and her son are from Norwood Park. And William Tang, who I touched on, is an intern with our Special Children's Charity. So he's the first Special Olympic athlete that they have employed as well. And he competes at McGuane Park. So 1 day, 8 hours, over $700,000. So our goal is to do that type of stuff for all our other adaptive sports, our injured veterans, and everything. The more that we can fundraise, even in these hard times, corporations and groups are behind it. So, Superintendent, if you'd like to plunge again next year, first Sunday in March. Yep. But we have little tokens of appreciation for you. There's cookies, a Polar Plunge T-shirt, and a Special Olympics T-shirt. And we'll just leave the box pantry, Sir Elizabeth, over there. There's one for every board member. Any questions?
Two comments. Just authenticity. I don't think you can wear the Polar Plunge T-shirt unless you've polar plunged.
Oh, you can. You support it. A lot of
the other thing I'd like to
supporters
say, it's really mind-blowing. When I first heard about this and the amount of money you raise, I mean, I'm involved with stuff, and you hustle to raise $25,000 or $50,000, but the fact that you guys raised $735,000 is just astounding. So thank you so much, and we know, where it goes and how worthy that cause is. So thank you very much for this.
And thank you, and we could do it for a lot of other things. So we'll keep trying, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry.
Next is a report on workforce development from Matt Marino. And Matt, I'm sorry I got out of order and made you wait.
No, that's okay. I was prepared to sing my presentation, but Kennedy kind of made me feel bad. President Trauber, Commissioners, and Superintendent Mike Kelly, my name is Matt Marino, and I am pleased to report to you today on a new department in the Chicago Park District, the Workforce Development Department. This department began in January of 2013 and was born out of a need to reinvest in our workforce and to further develop one of our most important assets, our employees. This department was developed for several reasons. Superintendent Mike Kelly has held many meetings with all levels of staff in the field and with administration, and heard a consistent request for development and growth opportunities, as well as increased communication. Our national and state accreditation standards called for consistent training and development plans for both in-house and in-service training. Chief Administration Officer Tanya Anthony recognized Community Recreation's professional development initiative over the past 3 years and set a goal to expand these efforts citywide. Customer feedback from a 2012 survey emphasized a need for increased service levels and the superintendent's focus on customer service. There's also been a national trend towards employee learning and development. In fact, the Sun-Times recently wrote about the newly opened Walgreens University, which offers classroom and online programming that engages, educates, and develops team members for rewarding long-term careers. The Sun-Times also mentioned that U.S. companies increased spending on training and development 12% last year, the highest growth rate in 8 years. So what is workforce development? We're a needs-based department committed to enhancing the district's communication and function, while offering avenues for personal and professional growth. Our strategy is to analyze department needs, develop processes and educational opportunities, design and train on these processes, and implement them across the district, while monitoring quality through evaluation. We do this by meeting with each department to discuss their needs. We are also sending out a survey to all levels of employees to gauge their feelings on internal customer service, development needs, and process improvements. To accomplish this requires a tremendous amount of expertise. Our department represents over 180 years of collective experience in everything from physical instructor to deputy chief program officer. The department has many qualifications, some of which include 5 certified park and recreation professionals, 3 master's degree with 1 in progress, a registered nurse, 19 wellness certificates, Meeting Convention and Exposition Management Certificate, Graduate Certificate in Educating Adults. Besides the internal and external experience we bring to the table, each of us has also gone through a nationally recognized 20-hour effective communication training with staff from DePaul University. This course has better prepared us for future interactions with Park District staff. In addition to the responsibilities that titles may suggest, our staff has also taken on additional training and development roles or certification. These include crisis prevention intervention, youth work methods, youth program quality assessments, computer skills and ActiveNet, new employee orientation, health and medical trainings, instructor development, park employee FAQs, customer service, and wellness. At this time, I'd like to introduce our team, if they could stand up, please. We have Administrative Assistant Fabiola Correas. If you want to applaud individually, that's fine. Administrative Secretary Shirley Evans. Professional Development Manager Nikki Ginger. Health Manager Colleen Gallagher. Accreditation Manager Vicky Cola. Operations Manager Marilyn Morales. Operations Manager Anita Boyd. Program and Event Coordinator Shundra Johnson. Intern Nancy Noel Siddell. And Wellness Program Specialist Kristen Grajada. Thank you very much. Just want to make one note. Kristen actually is in the wellness department, but works with us about half of the time. It was a very interesting thing that happened is that she found that a lot of her job corresponded with what we're doing, so she spends half her time with us, half of the time with wellness department. Thanks to an introduction from Allstate's CEO, from our general superintendent, let me say that again. Thanks to an introduction of Allstate's CEO to our general superintendent by Board President Traubert, we were able to hit the ground running in January. We collaborated with Allstate insurance companies to introduce 24 members of our management staff to Allstate's innovative Energy for Life program. The program focuses on empowering attendees to optimize their energy to be more productive and a happy employee. This was the first time Allstate offered this program to anyone outside of their own employees and spouses. The program was well received, and we are looking forward to possibly expanding this offering. I think it's important to note that even before finishing the surveys and needs assessments mentioned earlier, we are moving forward with some immediate needs. During the initial discovery phase, we found a large niche at the Park District. Logistical coordination for existing or new trainings that are needed for other departments. We have already worked with many departments on this, including green initiatives, finance, wellness, community recreation, and the Comptroller's Office to help coordinate employee development opportunities. We've had 3 workforce development staff train along with 7 staff from aquatics and special recreation to become certified to train on crisis prevention intervention. This was in direct response to challenges felt from some of our lifeguards during the summer last year. All natatorium instructors will go through the 8-hour crisis prevention intervention certification training by the end of April, conducted by trained CPD staff. This will give them tools to deflect and respond to crisis. Although it will begin with aquatics and special recreation staff, this training will eventually be made available to all park staff. In accordance with the superintendent's priority to focus on customer service, we have reached out to the Disney Institute, Chicago White Sox, Home Depot, the American Marketing Association, Pros Consulting, UPS, Starbucks, Zappos, and other leading customer service agencies to customize a plan to roll out in the fall of 2013. This plan and training will focus on internal and external customer service for both administration and field staff. Additional areas that we're currently focused on include CPRP readiness to prepare staff to take the Certified Park and Recreation Professional exam. We currently have 19 individuals going through this training, hoping to add to our number of over 100 certified recreation professionals. We also do new employee orientation 6 times a year. We recently offered computer skills training for administrative assistant staff. We have development conferences for community recreation staff that focus on each role and typically offer over 30 workshops per day. A partnership with the Respiratory Health Association to develop a 6-week smoking cessation program, including nicotine replacement therapy, free to Chicago Park District staff and spouses. In an effort to increase communication at all levels, we recently published a support phone line and email address that employees can call if they have questions or want to offer suggestions. We are also partnering with the IT department to purchase a learning management system to help all employees and administration distribute, manage, and track training. The system will allow staff to take off-the-shelf and customized online courses. We are purchasing software to help design these online courses, which will allow flexibility to employees for specific trainings or to take a refresher class. Employees will be able to choose curricula based on current position needs as well as career advancement. Managers will also be able to recommend trainings based on each individual skill set. It would usually take substantial funding to form such a new department. However, we remain very sensitive to budgetary constraints. The unique way this department was formed allowed the Park District to remain budget neutral. All members of the Workforce Development Department are current CPD employees that have been reassigned. One example that you're familiar with is Vicki Cola. Vicki came out of the Commissioner's office to join Workforce Development. Vicki's past work in your office on accreditation standards, as well as her extensive field experience, fit well in our new department. The operating budget remains the same as the Professional Development's 2012 budget since it was merged into Workforce Development. As additional needs are identified, we will also look to partner with the union to access training settlement funds. The Workforce Development Department is a prime example of the extra effort value of the Chicago Park District strategic plan to support innovation and welcome new ideas. To believe that professionalism, communication, technology, and teamwork serve as the foundation for great customer service and a productive workplace. I have one last thing I want to mention, but I would rather take your questions first, and then I can come back to that if you have any questions.
Yeah, Matt, this is a terrific presentation, by the way. Thank you. And, you know, I have to admit, as I'm watching this, I'm thinking, well, okay, this is really great. It's really important, but I'm going to ask you how much it costs. And you answered that question that this is budget neutral, that we took resources from other places and there's no increased expense to this program?
No increased expense to the program.
And then the next question is, well, then do you have enough resources to do the job?
That was the 12%
yeah.
slide that he was.
We're going to monitor that throughout this year and hopefully be able to negotiate with the union to access some of those funds, the training funds. But we also are noting already that we are saving the Park District in places, so then we can come back and say, you know, whether or not maybe some of those funds could be used for other things. A couple examples, Colin Gallagher is able to do the food allergy training in the future, which was held by a contract, so we won't renew that contract. The CPI training that we're going to be doing on crisis prevention, we probably wouldn't even think of affording that to be able to do it without us training our own staff to do it, to now to be able to go out and hit all of those natatorium instructors. So we'll be putting that cost analysis together as we go through the year, and we'll present that to you as well.
All right, well, it seems like very smart government to do it the way that you're doing it, but it's an important enough work that you'll be honest if you're under-resourced.
Right.
Then the other question is, how are you going to evaluate yourself? It is important work. How will you know if you're doing it well?
Yeah, I can use customer service as an example. We put out a survey last year to 3,000 users of the parks, and we have a baseline number of what they feel like our customer service, how well they're satisfied with that. So it'll be going back to the customers after we go through a training to see if there is an improvement in the surveys. But I look at that also as internally as us going back to the departments. If we're training if we're helping you to train on computer skills, and we're going to go back into that department and evaluate and follow up and find out, has there been an improvement with your employees? You know, when we put the learning management system together, the managers will be able to find whether or not it has helped to be able to pull something off the shelf and say, you know, I think you need time management skills. You know, we're hoping that a lot of that will be from our internal and external customer telling us that this is working.
Okay, well, I know you're just 3 months into it, but I hope that we'll get to see you again in 6 or 12 months so we can hear how this is going. And congratulations. It's really exciting.
Thank you very much. If I could get the last note is, I'd also like to extend an invitation to the commissioners and announce that the Community Recreation Department, in conjunction with Workforce Development, are working together with all departments in the district to put on the Chicago Park District's first and hopefully annual talent show. The acts will all be performed by Chicago Park District personnel, and all proceeds will be going to benefit children in need through our financial assistance program. Tickets are only $10 for adults and $5 for children. The show will be on Sunday, April 21st at 5:30 at the South Shore Cultural Center. More information on how to purchase those tickets will be available shortly.
You need us to be judges.
I'm thinking performers, but you know, it's either way, we welcome you to be there. So
awesome.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Next on the agenda is a report from the Committee on Administration.
The Committee on Administration met on March 13, 2013 to consider matters referred from February 14 to March 13, 2013, and hereby recommends that its report be adopted. Item number 1, ordinance authorizing amendments to Chapter 7 of the Code of the Chicago Park District. That concludes the report of the Committee on Administration, and I move for its adoption.
Let's second.
Will the Secretary take a roll call for the adoption of the matter?
Commissioner Shalaby?
Aye.
Commissioner Allen?
Aye.
Vice President Armstrong?
Aye.
President Trubert?
Aye.
Motion carried and the report is adopted.
Next, we'll hear the report from the Committee of the Whole. The Committee of the Whole met on March 13, 2013 to consider matters referred from February 14th to March 13th, 2013, and hereby recommends that its report be adopted. Item number 1, authorization to issue final payment for work completed in connection with Foster and West Pullman Park's ADA transition plan upgrades. Item number 2, authorization to issue final payment for work completed in connection with Kennecott and Piotrowski Park's ADA transition upgrades. That concludes the report of the Committee of the Whole, and I move for its adoption.
Second.
If no objection, we'll apply the last favorable roll call vote from the prior matter to this matter.
Motion carried and the report is adopted.
Under unfinished business, nothing was presented for consideration. Under new business, nothing was presented for consideration. That concludes the board meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. The board meeting is now adjourned.